Hey, it's David with Beat Your Face Commander. This is the deck tech for Tolovar Dire Overlord. So, Tolovar is a legendary human werewolf. Whenever a wolf or werewolf you control deals combat damage to the player, you get to draw a card. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 3 or more wolves and or werewolves, it becomes night. Then transform any number of human werewolves you control. So it comes in daybound. Werewolves is just kind of a card type I've always wanted to build around, but never really felt like they had a good commander for. So this guy's pretty dang good. On his flip side, he's Tolovar the Midnight Scourge. Same thing. Whenever a wolf or werewolf does combat damage to a player, you get a draw card. Then you can tap one red, one green, and X. Target wolf or werewolf you control gets +X/+0 and gains trample till end of turn. So as far as commanders go for werewolves, like definitely the better or the best of your options. There's really not many options. So for this deck, I run 12 forests and 10 mountains for my basic lands. And then for my non-basics, I run Unclaimed Territory. And for this one, the majority of the creatures are werewolves, so obviously that would be the creature type that I would announce. Rootbound Crag. Taps for either red or green, and enters battlefield tapped unless you already control mountain or forest. Rockfall Vale. If you have, this is good on like turn 3, not so great on turn 1 and 2, because you need to control at least 2 lands before it comes on the battlefield untapped. Firelit Thicket. Taps for colorless, or you can tap 1 red or green and add 2 reds, a red and a green, or 2 greens to your mana pool. Evolving Wilds. Terramorphic Expanse and Myriad Landscape all help fix mana. Got a Thespian Stage. I generally don't run lands that enter tapped, but Path of Ancestry is pretty good. You can add 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity, and when that mana is spent to cast a creature spell that shares a common type with your commander, so there's a lot of werewolves in here, you get a scry. So it's actually pretty good in this deck. Stomping Ground. You can pay 2 life for it to enter untapped. Command Tower. Growl Turf. Alright, so it's a bounce land. I'm running more tap lands in this than I normally would. I'm just now noticing this. Thriving Grove. It taps for green, then you can choose another color, so obviously that would be red. And then Blast Zone. I don't generally play this card, but there's not much in terms of board wiping for in this deck, so having this kind of works as a board wipe. Okay, so for artifacts, like I'm just running a few rocks. I got my Soul Ring, my Arcane Signet, and then a Gruul Signet. This deck has a lot more sorceries than I would normally run in a commander deck, but most of them are based around either fighting or ramp. So I've got Dahmer's Ambush, puts a 1/1 counter on a target creature controlled, and that deals damage equal to its power to target creature planeswalker you don't control. When I say fighting, I actually prefer cards that let me do damage without them receiving damage. Running 3 Visits for some ramp. Decimate, destroy an artifact, creature, enchantment, and target land. Crap Open. Destroys target artifact or enchantment, and you get to create a treasure token. So removal / ramp. Unnatural Moonrise. It becomes night until end of turn. Target creature gets +1/+0 and gains trample. Whenever this creature deals combat damage to player, draw a card and has flashback. Aggressive Instinct. Target creature you control deals damage equal to its power. Target creature you don't control. Crash Through. Creature gains trample and you get to draw a card. Rabbit Bite. Kind of same thing. Your creature deals damage to a target creature you don't control. A Rampant Growth for some ramp. Prey Upon. A target creature you control fights a target creature you don't control. Confidence of Strength. Gives a target creature 4/4/4 and gains trample until end of turn. And then Howl the Night Pack to generate some additional wolves. You get to put a 2/2 green wolf creature token on the battlefield for every forest you control. For enchantments, I'm running 4 enchantments. We've got Heartbeat of Spring for ramp. Whenever player taps a land for mana, it produces 1 mana of any type that land could produce. Ferocity of the Wilds. Attacking non-human creatures you control get +1/+0 and have trample. Howlpack Resurgence. And you can flash it in. Each creature you control that's a wolf or werewolf gets +1/+1 and has trample. And then finally, I love the art on this card, by the way. Unnatural Growth. At the beginning of each combat, double the power and toughness of each creature you control until end of turn. It's pretty good in this deck. So, y'all probably starting to see the recurring themes. Trample, buffing creatures, giving them, haste, things like that. Like, that's what this deck wants to do. It's a fighty deck. Alright, moving on to instants. Running Smelt. Destroy target artifact. Charge through, target creature gains trample until end of turn and you get to draw a card. Unleashed Fury, doubles the power of a target creature. Tamir Battle Rage, a target creature gains double strike and also gets trample if I control a creature with power 4 or greater. Moonlight Hunt. Choose target creature you don't control. Each creature you control that's a wolf or a werewolf deals damage equal to its power to that creature. So it's interesting target removal for sure, and definitely on theme. Soul's Fire. Target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to any target. Ram Through. Target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to any target. To a target creature you don't control. Sorry, not any target. If the creature you control has trample, the excess damage is dealt that creature's controller instead. Rush of Adrenaline. Target creature gets +2/+1 and gains trample until end of turn. Lunar Frenzy. Target creature you control gains +X/+0 and gains first strike and trample until end of turn. Some classic Beast Within art. Destroy a target permanent. Its control gets a 3/3 green beast. Run Amok gives an attacking creature +3/+3 and trample. Then Arcbound. This is Arcbond. So this serves as kind of a board wipe. So you choose a target creature. Whenever that creature is dealt damage, it deals that much damage to each other creature and each player. So if someone swings with something big at you, you cast this card, and next thing you know, everybody's losing everything. So it's an interesting board wipe. I don't run it a lot, but I do like it quite a bit. I'm also running some Planeswalkers. We got Jessica Thrice Reborn. When she enters the battlefield with a loyalty counter, or she enters the battlefield with a loyalty counter for each time you cast it from the command zone. Her 0 ability is actually the key reason she's in this deck. You choose a target creature until your next turn. If that creature would deal combat damage to one of your opponents, it deals triple that damage instead. I've never run Jessica in a deck. I've seen her run in several, and she's just awesome for only 3 mana. Arlen, Voice of the Pack. Each creature you control that's a wolf or werewolf enters the battlefield with an additional 1/1 counter, and then you can -2 her to create a wolf. And then I'm also running Arlen Cord. Until end of turn, her plus ability is up to one target creature gets +2/+2, gains vigilance and haste. You can 0 to create a 2/2 wolf and transform her into Arlen, Embraced by the Moon. Creatures you control get +1/+1 and gain trample to end of turn. You can -1 her, and she does 3 damage to target creature player, and then transform her. Or you can alter out and get an emblem with creatures you control have haste and tap. This creature deals damage equal to its power to target creature player. So, in an ideal world, you would be able to alt Arlen. But also, being able to create to generate multiple wolf tokens is going to be good. All right, which finally brings me to our creatures, the creatures that I'm running in this deck. So there's, like I said, there's lots of wolves and werewolves, but there's also a number of supporting casts that'll help this deck run smoother. We've got Fertilid for some ramp. Scar Guildmage. You can tap a red and a green, and creatures you control get trample until end of turn. Rex Sage, destroy an target artifact or enchantment. Tireless Tracker. Its landfall ability lets you create clue tokens that you can then sack for card draw. Springbloom Druid for some more ramp. This is sneakily one of my favorite cards in Magic. A Tuck Rubble Fort. It's a 0/3 Defender Reach wall, but it gives your creatures haste. I don't know. I just love this card. I played in a lot of red decks. You know, and often in my red decks, I want my creatures to have haste, and this is just a very super cheap and non-threatening way to do so. I don't think I've ever had anybody target my Tuck Rubble Fort. Yevamot Dryad for some additional ramp, along with Wood Elves and Farhaven Elf. And then I'm also running Garblin, a Necromancer. Each spell you cast is red or green costs 1 less to cast. Alright. And then moving into my Wolves and Werewolves. And then there's also one just Wolf Werewolf affiliate card, if you will. I'm running Convicted Killer. He's a 2/2 for 3 that transforms into a 4/4. A lot of my werewolves are not like super valuable-y. A lot of times it just comes out of them being really good beaters. Okay. Outland Liberator. You can tap 1, sacrifice to destroy target artifact or enchantment. It transforms into a 3/3 with that same ability, or whenever it attacks, destroy target artifact or enchantment defending player controls. So that's pretty dang good. Alright. Silverfur Partisan is a great card in this deck. It's a 2/2 with trample. Whenever a wolf or werewolf you control becomes the target of an instant or sorcery spell, put a 2/2 green wolf creature token onto the battlefield. So you may have noticed I'm running a lot of instants and sorceries that I can target my own guys with, which gives me additional value. Somberwald Alpha. Whenever a creature you control becomes blocked, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn. And then you can also tap 1 and a forest to give a target creature you control trample until end of turn. You may notice here you don't have to tap the Somberwald Alpha to do this, so if you got enough land, you could do a lot of damage with trample. We got Cult of the Waxing Moon, my werewolf affiliate. It's a human shaman. Whenever a permanent you control transforms into a non-human creature, put a 2/2 green wolf creature token onto the battlefield. So, a lot of Tolovar builds I've seen include cards. Basically, they include cards designed to keep it night, because that's obviously the more valuable or the more powerful part of the werewolf cards. That being said, this card is great because even if your opponents are meeting the stipulations and requirements to turn it back to day, when you transform them back to night, you're just getting additional value. So, really like it. I think it's a good include in pretty much any werewolf deck. We got Bounding Wolf. It's a flashes in. It's a 3/2 with reach. Just help you deal with some of the flying threats. Ulrich's Kindred. This is another sneaky awesome wolf. He's a 2 in red for a 3/2 with trample. You can tap 3 in a forest. Target attacking wolf or werewolf gains indestructible until end of turn. Also, you don't have to tap him to do that. So, depending on what your land situation looks like, you can save your wolves in the case of a board wipe. Just in general, that's sneaky good. I really like that card. Realm Walker. He's a changeling, which makes him a werewolf. As he enters battlefield, choose a creature type, werewolf. You may look at the top card of your library at any time. You may cast creature spells of the chosen type from the top of your library. So it just gives you access to an additional card each turn, potentially. You could be casting a wolf. You combine that with, if you got things out to give you, like your scry abilities and stuff, just helps you cycle through your stuff faster. Hermit of the Nether Knolls. Whenever an opponent casts a spell during your turn, draw a card. At the beginning of each upkeep, if no spells are cast, last turn, transform it. And then he transforms into Lone Wolf of the Nether Knolls. Whenever an opponent casts a spell during your turn, you can draw 2 cards. So, pretty good for 3 mana. Running a Hinterland Logger. She's a 2/1 for 2 that transforms into a 4/2 with trample. Got Village Messenger. It's a 1-drop, 1 red mana with haste. Transforms into a 2/2 with menace. Kessig Naturalist. Whenever it attacks, add a red or green mana. Until end of turn, you don't lose this mana as steps and phases end. It's pretty good. Pretty good. And then he transforms into Lord of Ulvenwald. Other wolves and werewolves you control get +1/+1. Whenever it attacks, it also, the same mana ability occurs. So, he pumps your wolves, and he generates mana. Good stuff. We got Tolovar's Huntmaster. He's 4 and 2 4s for a 6/6 on his day side. When he enters the battlefield, you create 2 green wolf creature tokens. And then when he transforms into Tolovar's Pack Leader, a 7/7. When he enters the battlefield, you create 2 more green wolf tokens, and then you can tap 2 green and 2 generic for another wolf or werewolf you control to fight a target creature you don't control. So it's a lot of good spot removal in here, based off fighting or doing damage. I like how it's done. All right, so we got Breakneck Rider. He's a 3/3. Transforms into a 4/4 with attacking creatures control, get +1/+0 and have trample. We got Bird Admirer. It's a 1/4 with reach. It turns into a 3/5, also with reach. Again, so one of the issues that you would deal with in a deck like this is that sometimes it's hard to deal with flying threats. So it's nice having these reach wolves and that you're able to pull in. Burly Breaker. He's got Ward 1. So spells that target him cost an additional 1 to cast. And he's a 6/5 for 5 that transforms into an 8/7 with Ward 3. Also, love the art on this card as well. Dire Strain Demolisher. In terms of value, he's really not the best werewolf, but having an 8/7 beater on the field seems like a good idea to me. Just saying. Harvestride Infiltrator. He's a 3/2 with trample on his day side and a 4/4 with trample on his night side. Got a couple cards left. Sage of Ancient Lore. He has power and toughness equal to the number of cards in your hand. When he enters the battlefield, you draw a card. At the beginning of your upkeep, long story short, day and night. When he transforms, he turns into Werewolf of Ancient Hunger, and his vigilance and trample, and his power and toughness are equal to the total number of cards in all players' hands. So, it's a potentially really big threat. Blue players take notice. And then the last card for this deck is Duskwatch Recruiter. Tap 2 and a forest, look at the top 3 of your library. You can reveal a creature card from among them, put it in your hand, put the rest in the bottom of your library in any order. And then he transforms into a 3/3. Creature spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Honestly, so his night ability is okay, but his day ability is actually really, really good. Being able to dig through the top 3 cards of your library, pretty dang good. So, yes, I know there are other builds for Tolovar, but this one is mine. And it is Tolovar Dire Overlord. I'm really excited to play this deck. I've always wanted to mess around with werewolves in Modern. I have not had great success, but one of my good friends has. So I would like to see if I can convert, or if I can change my fortune, so to speak, and have some success with this very much beat your face style commander in Tolovar, Dire Overlord.